Hey, so I feel good. So I just want to talk. That's all there is to it. It's not. Is it high enough? Yeah. I don't have any specific topic outside of that's particularly worth noting. This is more just a discussion about social behavior, I suppose. And like there are so many instances and situations we could discuss, but I'm going to bring up this one. And this one was a very common one that I experienced. So a little slight tangent because the past episode was on there's like a Merry Christmas one to the have-nots, and then there was a continuation into our series of topics that we cover related to just everyday life, and that covered religion and mythology, which I think the next like 2 episodes from this one we're gonna get back to that. But this is particularly important, and I just came back from going outside and I feel really good, and a lot of thoughts in my head. So I recall a moment when I was in the public, and this like, God, how long was this? Like 6 months to about 1.5 years ago. And this would happen all the time. Where also I'll bring up one specific instance, but you can believe me, this happens like thousands of times, and sometimes be the same people over and over, but many times it just be hearsay passing by and there'd be other people doing this. So I guess part of this kind of is a bit of like me giving some sense of kudos and really just saying thanks for someone, this young white couple who were on the sidelines watching, and they had the sense to, collecting myself a bit, observe and comment, almost like side support a little bit, but didn't get directly involved, which is good because they're not supposed to. And so what happened is I was on the line, I believe it was like Young Station, something like that. And there was this, what looks like to be a mixed couple on my right, and a white couple on my left. And they're both young. Okay? So, approaching from my right hand side, there's like this, it looks like a Middle Eastern guy with like a Southeastern Asian, like think of like Indonesian, Filipino, but it could be Asian, could be Chinese, I don't know. And she's a young brat. I tell you, it's like the brattiness of it, because she's trying to rope him in, and he's totally joining in with it, and they're both snickering, right? Because this is, like I said, I had so many encounters of this, whether it's because of my appearance or because like they see that I'm single, or they think I'm single, of all things. This is the worst part because they're wrong on so many levels, right? Have you ever, especially the older couples out there, have you experienced the audacity and the nerve of young fools and spoiled brats coming here for the first time? They have like experienced love for the first time, and they try to rub it in your face. It's like, get a fucking room, right? Like, this is like 80s and 90s. We all been through this shit. We all know how stupid young love is. Like, they're like brain dead, and they think that you can feel jealousy, or they think you can feel when you've been in a long-term relationship for like years and years and years, if not decades, and they think they can actually get under your skin in that way. If anything that does get under your skin, it just be how fucking dumb they are, right? But this is one of those couples, all right, on the right hand side, and they come up here, and she's like rub it, kind of like reeling her husband or her boyfriend in, and the two of them are just start like making out on the fucking subway platform, and it's the most odd, uncomfortable, and cringe-worthy thing on the fucking planet. What are you doing? Why are you making a scene like this? And do you think they're just gonna get away with it all, right? Because they have no foresight into the future. Like, you don't realize that like maybe 6 months down the road, or 2 years down the road, or 5 years down the road, people are gonna remember you for the dumb shit that you did. Well, most people won't, but I mean, but they'll know what kind of person you were, at least. And so on the right hand side, that's what's going on. And I'm just trying to ignore them, but I'm getting pissed. I'm like, what the fuck? Who do you think you are? Quit projecting. I've seen some of these when they were, like, there are people here who were once single, And what they're trying to do is basically that, oh, we got a boyfriend. I remember when you didn't give me attention. I remember when you didn't give me attention when I was like free and I was trying to give signs or some shit. See, I got a boyfriend now. I got a girlfriend now. What the fuck is wrong with these people? They got issues. All right, so that's what's going on my right hand side, right? And again, like some of you have experienced this shit, and some of you are the ones who do this. So fuck you, all right? Because you're so fucking naive and immature. So then on the left hand side is this young white couple, and they are composed and they're calm, okay, and they're watching this. But even then, just like me, right, they're like, what the fuck are they doing? So the girlfriend, the white girlfriend on the left hand side, decides to open her mouth, and she's like, she's like whispering to her boyfriend, right? She's telling her guy, you're so passive aggressive, and I just I just could not hold it in anymore. I let out a smirk and I just blurted out, that's not passive aggressive. That's not low key. That's high key passive aggressive. But she says low key. I'm not. That's so. How can you be like this? What are you exactly? How do you become this jealous and vindictive and bitter and like just gross? How do you? So, look, I mean, it's that bad. I can't help but express how can you be that bad on the inside? And the worst part is people who like find love like this and use their love to tear other people down, like in total ignorance of the fact that other people could have been married, they could have like several long-term relationships, and they think that they can just come out here and think they have something to show. They have something that they can make other people feel envious of, when that's really just a projection of their own insecurities when they were single and they felt jealous and felt envious. And I'm like, what the fuck? Other people are secure even when they're alone. I'm a fucking introvert. You don't even know. I love my solitude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you can't sit still and calm and steady on your own and be secure and confident as your own individual, independent person, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you, because like, don't project your insecurities and emotions on other people. You know what I'm saying? And I think the healthiest relationships, once again, are always those where it's two very strong, independent, confident individuals who are secure in their own right come together to form something greater than the sum of the parts, which may be an example of that. I don't know them, but the couple on the left-hand side may be an example of that, right? And this is going through my mind today, okay? Because like things have kind of died down a lot now, right? Partly because I've been very vocal about this in my city, in my local area, but also because wisdom isn't something you can really ignore. This isn't exactly knowledge. The differentiating factor between wisdom and knowledge is largely that wisdom is something you usually will inevitably, undeniably learn through time and experience. It's not something you can really ignore or avoid, because it stands the test of time. It's something that shows after years and years and decades and sometimes centuries. So as people mature throughout time and they acquire more and more experience, and that accumulates, certain truths are more universal than others. And the more universal those truths and general social dynamics and principles and rules and guidelines, the more closer they become to represent what is wisdom, as opposed to just simple knowledge or misinformation or data, and so these are lessons you would learn with time, and you can listen to it or you cannot. And if you don't, eventually you'll learn anyways, the hard way. So you can learn the easy way or you can learn the hard way, right? And since there's no real obligation to teach any of these things, right? Especially sometimes you tell someone this and they just become indignant, reluctant, and look down and start barking at you or laughing at you or getting pissed off at you. None of those are the appropriate reactions. But if that's the case, you just end up being in my mouth. It's like, what's the point, right? It's just causing unnecessary trouble and hassle. You only speak up when you really need to. And so they're making this scene on the right hand side, and I board the train, and I just, as they try to enter from the other side, and they go in directly, they change their minds. And I just look at them. Just like, I wanted to shake my head, but I I couldn't even process, I couldn't fathom that they were actually doing something just this awful, this snide, and this bitter, and just egotistical, vanity, narcissism at its core. It's basically these two couples here who just don't deserve the love that they have. They're just using their love to make fun and tear and find amusement in other people who may have already had love for decades and decades, but they feel like this puts them, by putting other people down, they bring themselves up, right? They're stepping on other people, making them feel inferior to lift up their own ego and stuff like that. And sometimes it's just as a, they see a perceived slight somehow, and then they want to go back on some kind of like petty revenge, like they're still in fucking grade 3 grade school type bullshit on the recess playground. So and there were so many couples like this, but there are older couples like this too, right? And then you do see the mature couples, but then here's the caveat, right, of being someone can foresee this, is that you don't really have any incentive to do anything, because you can't really do anything. You can't really join in on it, because if I start barking back at them, I'm only contributing to the problem. So rather than do that, what is the conventional wisdom? I actually wrote this in like 2012 on my, like when I first created this, like my YouTube channel. Okay, this is like 2011, so it's like 13-14 years ago, more than a decade. And one of the things I wrote down was like in my little bio, and I was just, I was fairly young at the time, but it's kind of obvious because you think back like 30, 40, 50, 60 years, 100 years, where like there's, like I said, conventional wisdom is something that is fairly uniform throughout time, okay? And different pieces of advice and wisdom will be more relevant and more universal than others. The more universal, the better. But generally speaking, the best form of wisdom actually applies each piece of wisdom advice to specific scenarios and situations, because there is nothing that is so universal that you can use as a blanket statement, right? Everything requires some sense of nuance, and you need to pay attention to the situation, the conditions, and the factors. But coming full circle around, right? The thing that I wrote down in my bio at the time was, it's like, again, I was just entering university at the time, and I wrote down was, I was at the time creating a bunch of playlists and music, right? Because music serves a lot of different purposes and reasons aside from entertainment. And I said, when people use things, or whatever people say, outwardly unprovoked, okay? When it's done, when they start shit, when they go out their way to put other people down, that's more reflective of themselves. So someone to go out of their way, like if it's out of defense, that's fine, but if they're just taking the above measure to go above and beyond and actually insult someone and just rag on someone and be a fucking bully and mean-spirited or abusive, like verbally abusive, whether they go around and try to take you down to their level. I'm calling you, as a racial slur, or they're mocking your manlyhood or your femininity, or them trying to, make fun of your social status or your appearance, or the fact that you don't have a lot of money, or whatever it is that they think they can get an edge off on you by calling you stupid, or by calling you poor. It's more reflective of them, tells more about them than it does about you. And the louder and more obnoxious they are in the public, the better for you, because they reveal and expose themselves in the public for everyone to see. Now, people may not recognize at that time that they're doing stupid things, and there are people who are stupid enough to bandwagon and join in on that. But over time, like I said, wisdom reveals itself over time, because people will learn. Okay, people do learn. They will learn their mistakes. They will see the mistakes of others, and eventually, the person who's pointing a finger at someone else will always have 3 fingers pointing back at them. And so, if they're going to be obnoxious and start saying all this horrible shit about someone unprovoked, right? You're just kind of like minding their own business. What comes around goes around. You fuck around, you find out, right? And so it's better to just, you don't really need to say anything, but you do have to be patient and resilient enough to last long enough. And sometimes, if it gets too extreme, you do have to clap back. You need to talk back sometimes. You need to put them down vocally. But that needs to be done with some sort of strategic sense, right? And so this came to my mind, right? Because the more obnoxious and loud and they were with their behavior, it was like a public comedy show. Like I was like, I had to, like, I get people kind of catch me sometimes grinning. It's like, it's really hard. And sometimes I mouth it out just to make it clear, like, the one who's funny isn't me, right? But you think I'm funny and you think you're funny, but actually you are the joke. The joke's on you. And I don't have to tell you what that is until you figure it out, like many, many months or years or even a full decade down, or some people don't even realize until like ever. Some people don't ever realize. So I need to get that off my chest. Like, I didn't need to get that off my chest. It's just something that has been really bothering. It's like, I wanted to vocalize this a lot sooner, but I didn't have the capacity, like I mentioned. I've been so busy that this stuff has just been like, you know, I don't let this stuff get to me, but there's been so much of it, so much over, and the scenario I described to you is so bad. How can you be that fucking bad? How can you be that awful? It's like, cause like, here's my perception, right? At least when I used to see a young couple, I would be like, I'm happy for you, right? I'm like, this is great. You found someone, a partner who you can spend your time with. This is great. This is amazing, you know? And I usually smile warmly when I see stuff like that, and it was natural. It was just a natural reaction. Like when I see a little kid, you know, like helping their little brother or little sister up, it's heartwarming. I like that, you know? It's like, feels good to see that. Or when I see a little dog prattling along and he starts to like, you know, eye me and come closer, I like to, you know, just give him a little pat and stuff like that. It's just nice. It's nice, right? It's like, but not nice in like the doormat pushover like sense, like nice in the sense that it feels wholesome. It's heartwarming. And so while I am happy for you, you would spit in my eye, in my kindness. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So then I'm just gonna retract that. And they will continue doing that. And then now I have no choice but just to like laugh at them. Because like they figure out way too late. And they're so obnoxious and arrogant, and they think they have like this upper hand somehow. So they bring their friends on it, and they make a fool not of themselves only, but also of their friends and their couples and the relatives of their family. And it's so fucking foolish. If you couldn't tell, I've been dealing with this so fucking often, especially the young couples. But then there were like fucking like boomer, like 50-year-old white men and women like who were doing this, the Karens especially, the really self-entitled ones. But it didn't matter, right? There were Filipinos who did this, there were Chinese who did this, there were like Vietnamese who did this, there were Canadians who did this, there were like fucking Americans, like Indians who were doing this. It was just such an awful time. It was like everybody was, I guess, onto that whole red flag dating culture bullshit. Like, what the fuck? Most of my friends are, throughout my life, they were all married. If anything, they were like multiple generations ahead of me, biologically speaking. And so it's like, I've never felt this before. I've never been, like, most of my friends in my life have always been mature enough to not feel insecure, be petty, or God forbid, like, feel jealousy or project and think that other people feel jealous. Like, what the fuck is this? Envy? What the fuck is envy? Shouldn't you have overcome this in like fucking grade school when you were like 6, 7 years old? The hell? Oh, God. Yeah. So anyways, like, thanks to that couple on the left-hand side who actually had some sense. And this is something that you just kind of witness, because I grew up downtown. I know how shallow people are. But once in a while, you see the diamonds in the rough, the people who are kind of ahead and can see, you can see, like, real recognize real. You see, there are some people here, they'll know what's going on. They know, right? But, and all you can do is really kind of like nod your head in approval and smile and smirk, but you can't allow yourself to, like, for a moment there, like for the past 10 minutes right now, as I was like venting a little bit here, like, I allowed myself to express myself a little bit too much. I lost a little bit too much control. And this is me basically holding myself accountable and saying that, I shouldn't have been so expressive, but I was overwhelmed, okay? Because this happened on a daily basis, multiple times, from so many fucking different people over the course of like days, months, weeks, and a full-blown years. And it came from every single direction, no matter where I go, at work, at the grocery store, at the bus, on the subway. Oh my fucking God, the level of immaturity was so insane. And like the insecurity, the passive aggressiveness, oh God, the exclusion, you know, it's like the fraternity type of peer pressure. Like, oh, we're not gonna, oh, you know what would be so funny? Yeah, this is that white girl sass, yo. There's like white girl bullies, if you ever know. If you know, you know. But like, you know, oh, you know what would be so funny? If we like invited her, but like not actually let her in. We didn't tell her, and then we all just start humiliating and laughing at her when she arrives. Oh, that's like a great idea. Why don't we just that? Oh, the cowardice, the cowardly behavior. Oh, oh, we just want to fucking, you know, but you can't. It's a test of your patience. Testing your patience like blood samples, like straight from hip hop, you know. Oh, yeah, that is. And then you would think, right, like if they're in a couple, these young couples, they got a man apparently, right? So then you wonder, that's not a man, is that a little boy? Because like, how do you join? If you first of all, how do you find a partner who's this petty and bitchy and just not have any issues with it? And then secondly, how do you join in on that? So that says a lot about you, because you're not much of a man, then, are you? So I don't even know. It was so bad. It was so fucking bad. So thank you to the good ones out there, to that very mature young couple for seeing things for what they were. It was like a young white couple, a boyfriend and girlfriend. Thank you for noticing. Thank you I want to give a shout out to, like, again, this is largely symbolic, and this message is never gonna reach the right people anyways, but I just gotta express my gratitude and my thanks for the people who, again, they come from all creeds. Like there was like a Chinese lady once, there was a Persian family once, there was like an older like man who came down, white man who came, and they would just sometimes sit beside me or try to block the way, or sometimes they would come by and they would you know, like I said, there was that couple, and the girlfriend, she said, she let out a comment, you know, that's so low-key passive aggressive. And then I was like, low-key, that's high-key, you know. But there are people who notice these things, and they are like at least mature enough to see through the bullshit. Thank you so much for all your support. Like, they just not like direct support, right? They were wise and mature enough, most of them, to not get directly involved. And that's fine. That's all you need to do. Just to know, for me to be on that train and know that there's someone else here who gets it. They get it. They get how stupid all this bullshit is. That is so, like, there's some kind of like, there's warmth. There's genuine comfort and solace that I'm not alone in this. That there are other people who can see through all this fucking nonsense that polluted the like social sphere, I guess. And again, not saying that there aren't like many reasonable factors at play, like the pandemic, like social media, like politics, like SJW mentality, victim mentality, like actual abuse, like actual narcissistic abuse, like actual warfare, poverty. Of course, all of these things have to play. And then there's also just youthfulness, or some people are just like really old and they're really grumpy, or some people are just really snobbish because they were spoiled and trust fund babies or whatever. And like, whatever, I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons for it, okay? But none of it was excusable. And I'm really, really thankful to the people who were able to see through all the bullshit and have been, I guess, on the sidelines, kind of like just acknowledging it. I won't even say support, because we don't know each other. These people here who get it, we're not friends, we're not even acquainted. But just knowing that they're out there, that they know what's going on, and they see the stupidity of it all. I really appreciate that they're just there. So for those of you who, the rare occasion, if this ever reaches there, thank you so much for, thank you so much for just being. Because again, I'm gonna say it, you're the kind of people we need in society. You're the kind of people society needs more of. Okay. Yeah, feels good to get this on my chest. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to talk because I felt pretty good, and this was an important topic. Again, the issue, the people with issues, and then the people with the sense, like common sense, wisdom, experience, whatever you want to call it. You know, thanks. All right, see you guys next one.